Nigeria, justice sector reforms approval, moves to combat power shortage, abolish acceptance fees in the Nigerian educational system, ECOWAS Parliament opens last session for 2019. These are some of the stories for tonight. Do I have to tell you what time it is and what program you're on to? I guess not. But there is much more. There is something on the alleged sale of children, plus the joy and challenge of childbirth. That is depending on the number you're blessed with, be it twins, triplets, quadruplets, quintuplets. Just wait for that story. There is business news, security issues, and of course, sports. Don't worry, it's a good harvest today on the program. And as usual, we'll leave you to experience it as the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Omar Buba, and this is News Extra. And we begin with FEC. The Federal Executive Council has approved an all-encompassing justice sector reform policy. This is aimed at enhancing access to all, as well as speedy administration of justice in the country. Attorney General and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami announced this while briefing journalists after meeting of the council. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports on these and other approvals granted by members.
With President Muhammadu Buhari presiding, the Federal Executive Council deliberated extensively on the general principles of the policy described as critical towards engendering fair, efficient, and transparent administration of justice in Nigeria. Attorney General and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami at a media briefing confirmed that a buy-in of both the executive, judiciary, and the legislature, as well as multidimensional institutions and stakeholders, has been sought and obtained.
The intention and design was to have a justice sector reform package that will turn things around for the better as far as the administration of justice is concerned, turn things around relating to access to justice, turn things around relating to speedy administration of justice, and turn things around for the purpose of ensuring at the end of the day that we have a consensus building approach to the administration of justice.
The Minister of Justice also secured the approval of the Council for the repeal and amendment of the nation's laws relating to the Geneva Convention aimed at protecting prisoners of war as well as people involved in armed conflicts and other related infractions.
The intention is to make necessary amendments to our laws relating to the rights of people involved in war, right to people involved in civil conflicts, to ensure at the end of the day that they are not unduly affected or prejudiced to such an extent that it goes outside the conventional tolerable practices internationally.
On his part, the Minister of Power, Salim Mamman, confirmed the ratification of President Muhammadu Buhari's anticipatory approval for the Transmission Company of Nigeria to release $2 million to the West African Power Pool for its 2019 budget.
That is part of our contribution to West African Power Pool, WAP, and it has been graciously approved.
The West African Power Pool has, amongst other objectives, creating a framework for improved quality, quantity, and access to power supply in member states of the sub-region. Another approval granted by the Federal Executive Council was the issuance of a sovereign guarantee collateral to a syndicate of international lenders for a 500 million euro loan facility for the Bank of Industry.
The main objective of the loan is to support industry, revitalize agro-industrial processing zones, to facilitate the creation of new jobs. We do believe that about 1.2 million jobs would be created through these facilities. Increase the income of farming communities and promote the inclusion of MSMEs and smallholder producers in industrial value chains, and the deployment of transportation infrastructure that connect farming communities to processors and markets.
The loan facility to be swapped to the nation's currency towards mitigating the foreign exchange risk is expected to finance major industrialization projects as well as micro, small and medium enterprises value chain in Nigeria for up to 5 years tenure. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In the meantime, law experts have explained that the incessant call for the independence of the judiciary is not for the benefit of the individual judges, but to strengthen the checks and balance provision recommended by the Nigerian Constitution. The explanation came at the annual Criminal Law Review Conference, which commenced in Abuja. Femi Okeo reports.
In law practice, just as there are specialization in political, constitutional, and election matters, or even contractual, economic, and oil and gas matters, so are there specialists in criminal cases. But one thing that unites all these arms of law is the respect given to court pronouncements, which eventually help to bring sanity to our national lives. At the second annual Criminal Law Review Conference organized by the Rule of Law Development Foundation, criminal law practitioners highlighted areas that need the urgent attention of the executive, legislature, and even the judiciary itself to help stem the rising spate of kidnapping, banditry, corruption, and other forms of criminality.
There are no accurate statistics of cases pending in courts. Accused persons remanded in prison custody by courts, suspects languishing in police cells nationwide.
Other speakers called for greater investment in the nation's prosecutorial and investigative agencies.
If the prosecuting agencies do their work properly, I don't think anybody will say it otherwise.
As part of benefits of conferences such as this, law experts say that a seasonal but constant review of our criminal justice system will go a long way in improving the rule of law in Nigeria generally. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
Well, thank you, Femi, for that. Now, in another development, President Muhammadu Buhari has signed the Executive Order 009 on open defecation-free Nigeria by 2025 and other related matters. In the order, Nigeria is committed to being open defecation-free by 2025. To achieve this, the established National Secretariat called Clean Nigeria Campaign Secretariat at the Federal Ministry of Water Resources is authorized on behalf of the President to implement the order by ensuring that all public places, including schools, hotels, fuel stations, places of worship, marketplaces, hospitals, and offices have accessible toilets and latrines within their premises. All ministries, departments, and agencies of government are also expected to cooperate with the Clean Nigeria Campaign Secretariat. The National Assembly and the State Houses of Assembly shall enact legislation on the practice of open defecation with appropriate sanctions and penalties. All development projects are also to include construction of sanitation facilities as an integral part of the approval and implementation process. The Secretariat shall terminate when Nigeria is declared open defecation free. All enforcement authorities are hereby directed to diligently collaborate with the Federal Ministry of Water Resources in implementing the order. And to discuss further on this, we have Suleiman Adamu. He is the Minister of Water Resources. You're welcome to News Extra, sir.
Good evening and thank you.
Yes. So we've been talking about, the launch and also the campaign. So just a day after this launch of the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign, the executive order is coming. How significant is this order?
Well, it's certainly the icing on the cake in our efforts to rid Nigeria of this indecent practice of open defecation. This executive order clearly demonstrates the highest political will by government to eradicate this practice. With the presidential order, we expect that states will also follow suit because the bulk of the population are, of course, in the states. So President Muhammadu Buhari has demonstrated the highest political will and commitment to this, and there is now a national promulgation that Nigeria must be open defecation free by 2025. So it's not just the roadmap, it's not the Ministry of Water Resources. This is going to be a mass movement, a mass effort, and a total commitment by all Nigerians, I hope, going forward to eliminate this practice of open defecation so that Nigeria will drop from being number one, completely get out of the list of being number one in Africa and presently number two in the world, and very likely to be number one in the world if we fail to achieve this campaign.
Yeah, we pray that will happen soon. And before the launch, you traveled to some states on advocacy, visits to all the governors on the issues. So what commitment have you squeezed out of these governors you met?
Oh, a lot. I've been in all the states I've visited. The governors showed a lot of commitment because we showed them the numbers, we showed them the statistics of how well they were doing relative to other states in terms of access to water supply and sanitation. The statistics are quite dismal, and it was quite a shock to many of them. I visited states where instantly a governor made a commitment and formally declared a state of emergency on water and sanitation, and in my presence directed his Attorney General to prepare a bill that will go to the State Assembly. So there's been a lot of commitment, and there are other states, even before I started the advocacy, that since the launch of the National Wash Action Plan in November last year, have already embraced this. And honestly, the response has been quite promising and very welcome.
Now, briefly, with the bill, now before the National Assembly, what if the bill now becomes a law? How do you? What's it?
Well, our approach is that we want behavioral change.
Okay.
That's the number one thing. But this kind of things have to go with a carrot and stick approach.
Okay.
The bill is not necessarily, the law that we hope that will be enacted is not necessary to punish people. In any case, we recognize that different authorities, local government, states, need to, and probably in the case of federal government, the Federal Capital Territory, we need to also do our own bit by providing facilities in public places and so on. And we want to bring in the private sector into that as well. But going forward, we have a 5-6-year program. By the time if these facilities are available near you, you should know that it is illegal for you to practice this behavior in public places or anywhere for that matter. That's it.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming on News Extra tonight to give us an insight to these issues and the water bill.
Thank you very much. Clean Nigeria, use the toilet.
Clean Nigeria, use the toilet.
Thank you.
All right, you've all had that. And yes, that was the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu. And moving on now to further address the problem of power shortages in Nigeria, the Senate has urged the federal government to urgently strengthen the Nigerian Nuclear Regulatory Authority for it to function effectively and efficiently. National Assembly correspondent Vivian Idepefo reports that the matter, which came under a motion by Senator Tanko Almakura, received the majority support.
No country has ever developed without efficient power supply. Now, the Senate is drawing attention to the need to urgently address this challenge and improve on the country's competitiveness, leveraging on President Muhammadu Buhari's visit to Russia, which culminated in the signing of the bilateral agreement on nuclear energy cooperation.
Power outages in Nigeria have constituted the major constraint in the development of manufacturing sector and negatively affect the cost of running business in Nigeria.
In fact, power is a critical infrastructure in the development of any nation. Until we are able to fix power, many things will not work in Nigeria.
The need to promote tourism to diversify the economy by Senator Oluremi Tinubu, and that to combat high rates of infant mortality caused by pneumonia by Senator Clifford Odia, were other motions also adopted.
Nigeria has all the trappings of huge tourism potential, rich cultural heritage that are not being maximized to advantage.
Post-pneumonia deaths can be prevented with vaccines and treated with low-cost antibiotics such as amoxicillin DT.
The Senate also considered 5 bills for second reading, including the Electoral Amendment Act of 2010 by the Deputy Senate President, that to establish Federal University of Agriculture and Technology Funtua, Katsina State by Mandi Abelu, and the bill to make provision for the protection from internet falsehood and manipulations and other related matters.
By this bill, we seek to ensure that the Act clearly forbids members of political parties from taking up employment in INEC, grant agents of political parties the right to inspect original electoral materials before the commencement of an election.
The university will also offer programs in engineering and areas of applied research which are critical to Nigeria's development aspirations.
In favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Meanwhile, the PDP Senate caucus has called on President Buhari to direct relevant authorities to investigate the murder of the party's leader in Kogi State and bring the perpetrators to justice. From the National Assembly, Vivian Itekpefo, NTA News.
And several reasons have been adduced as responsible for the difficulties encountered in accessing tertiary education in Nigeria. Among them, the acceptance fee charged applicants by management of the institutions. The House of Representatives says such fees should be abolished. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The issue of acceptance fees charged applicants by tertiary institutions in Nigeria, ranging from 20 to as high as 70,000 naira, elicited comments from lawmakers when Representative Emeka Martins brought the motion before the House.
If the exploitative admission practice of this tertiary institution in the country are left unchecked, the aspiration of the indigent Nigerians to study in the university will continue to be cut short because of their inability to pay acceptance fee.
Government is funding them. I don't know what they are using this money for.
The House called on the Federal Ministry of Education and National Universities Commission to abolish it. Other motions adopted by the House include a call to rescind the order banning tricycle operations in Abuja and an appeal on concerned authorities to beef up security in communities in Zamfara State following renewed killings by bandits. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, in response to a matter of privilege raised by House Minority Leader Ndude Lumelu on an issue related to financial allocations to the National Assembly for constituency projects in the last 10 years, urged government agencies, in particular the ICPC, to ensure due diligence in investigations.
Send this message across to ICPC and all other such agencies that they should please be very, very careful, do their work, do their investigation. There's a difference between monies budgeted and monies released.
In the meantime, the House has passed 3 bills, while 3 passed second reading, including a bill for an act to amend the Nigeria Press Council Act, sponsored by Representative Olusegun Odebumi. As the Committee of the Whole reports on 3 bills, one of which seeks to prohibit the killing and exploitation of donkeys, were considered and adopted.
Even for agricultural purposes, we know the role donkey plays. We know for the purpose of transportation in the rural areas.
The House, during plenary, commenced legislative process on the 6 aviation sector reform bills forwarded to the National Assembly this week by the President as they went through first reading alongside 11 other bills. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Thank you, Lami. Determined to collectively deal with the multidimensional challenges confronting West Africa, leaders of the Commission of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have pledged to collaborate with the Parliament and other community institutions to collectively confront regional challenges. This was at the opening of the second ordinary session of the 4th legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja. Ado Adamu also reports that the 3-week session is also expected to give legislative direction for the effective running of the Commission to achieve the desired regional development.
As members of Parliament of the Economic Community of West African State ECOWAS begin deliberation in Abuja, top on their agenda is the consolidation of democracy, regional economy, the conduct of peaceful election, addressing mounting security threats, and the attainment of greater stability, as well as the approval for the Commission's next budget. Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Mustafa Sisilo, stressed the need for the consolidation of the right steps already taken to put the region on the paths of sustainable progress and integration. Head of the Commission's institution welcomed the new impetus given to the implementation of Supplementary Act relating to the enhancement of the powers of ECOWAS Parliament and called for collaboration between the Commission's institutions.
The task before us as parliamentarians is to deliberate more so as to come up with a rock-solid position to guide the executive arm.
I am proud to say that the ECOWAS Court of Justice and the ECOWAS Parliament have always shared the spirit of solidarity and collaboration.
And we want to work with you. We are already working with your secretariat to arrive at the process in accordance with the rules, so that this time around, at least we're all in synergy.
Members were unanimous in their decision that ECOWAS will continue to strengthen its intervention mechanism in order to support the conduct of peaceful elections in all member states, especially the forthcoming presidential election in Guinea-Bissau. And at the end of it all, they are going to come out with a strong legislative agenda that would help in galvanizing support for the integration, stability, and development of the West African sub-region. In Abuja, Ado Ademwanso, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with former President Goodluck Jonathan on his 62nd birthday, joining the nation in praying for longer life, good health and more strength for him to keep serving the nation. President Buhari believes the former president's legacy of humility and patriotism will continue to resonate and inspire generations to come on the sacrifices made for the stability of democracy and promotion of sustainable development, while rejoicing with family, friends, and political associates of the former president. President Buhari lauded him for good counsels to leaders within and outside Nigeria since he left office, and wishes the former president and his family more years of joyful celebrations. Kano State government moves to unravel alleged sale of babies case. More on this after the break. Please stay.
Papa Scholastic, now what do you do? Emeka, drive the limousine Bugatti, come inside now. Glow 200 naira recharge card for me. 200 naira.
Just recharge 200 naira for 1 day, and you say fit follow win for the hundreds and hundreds of heavy prizes like a can of pepper, industrial sewing machine, grinding machine, and generator. No, my own done better.
My grinder will go win. Now here I go put up. Make that.
Emeka no go recharge you na Glow. I don't win generator, and here na myself. Oh.
The more you recharge, the more your chance, the better.
Glow Unlimited.
Them girls just they feel me now, cause I get some money, then they feel me now. But then they do me anyhow. I don't get some money, they want to get. Oh yeah, shake body. Oh yeah, move body. Make you ring alarm. Oh yeah, shake body.
Niger State Ministry of Water Resources and Dams Development welcomes all participants to the 26th regular meeting of the National Council on Water Resources with the theme Water Sanitation and Job Creation, under the distinguished chairmanship of the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Hussein Suleiman Adamu, holding at Idris Legbo Kutigi International Conference Center, Mina, Niger State, from Wednesday 20th to 24th of November 2019. Time is 9 a.m. daily. Chief host, His Excellency the Governor of Niger State, Alhaji Abubakar Sani Bello. Welcome to Niger State, the power state. This message is from Yusuf Suleiman, the Honorable Commissioner, Water Resources and Dams Development, Niger State.
Hey, bro, what's up, man?
Wait. Sure, son, I want the bicycle.
Enjoy more data than before on Airtel Home Broadband. Get up to 160 gigabytes on routers with 25,000 Naira and 55 gigabytes on Airtel MiFis with 12,000 Naira. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Strongest, no challenge can stop us, so Lord.
Let Mother Goodness fuel your greatness. Let's go.
The management and staff of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission wishes to announce the fourth quarter 2019 Joint Nigeria Public-Private Partnership Network and Public-Private Partnership Units Consultative Forum meeting with the theme Accelerating Bankable PPP Project Development in Nigeria, the Afrexim Bank Project Preparation Facility Workshop. The event is scheduled to take place as follows. Date, Thursday, 21st November 2019. Venue, Lagos Oshu Hall, Transcorp Hilton, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. This event is sponsored by Afrexim Bank and PAC Capital Limited. Please note that attendance to this event is by invitation only. Engineer Chidi K.C. Izuwa Senior, Director General and CEO, Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. Announcer.
The Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Obonaya Onu, and the Minister of State, Barrister Mohammed H. Abdullahi, wish to invite the general public to the 17th meeting of the National Council on Science and Technology, which we hold as follows. Date, Monday 25th to Friday 29th November 2019. Venue, Amos House Complex, 47, Arthur Eze Avenue, Oka, Anambra State. Time, 8 a.m. daily. Theme, moving Nigeria from import-dependent to sustainable, self-reliant and exporting nation through science, technology, and innovation. The meeting will attract the presence of all commissioners and permanent secretaries of science and technology from the 36 states and the FCT, as well as director generals and CEO of agencies of the ministry. For further inquiries, please contact Dr. Ijoma Irene, Deputy Director, Planning, Research and Policy Analysis Department, on these numbers: 0803-409-2081. Beatrice Bako Nabasu, Permanent Secretary, Announcer.
It's time for us to protect our future.
The Federal Ministry of Health and the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, in collaboration with partners, are commencing a second dose of measles vaccination of children 15 months of age from 14th November 2019. All caregivers with children up to 2 years of age should ensure that they visit health facilities, outreach sites, and mobile sessions in their communities to have their children screened for the vaccination with measles second dose. Note that apart from the usual first measles vaccination of 9 months, parents and caregivers now have to vaccinate children 15 months of age with a second dose of measles vaccine to fully protect the children from measles. Remember, November 14th, 2019 is the commencement for the measles second dose introduction in the southern states. Measles kills. Protect your child now. Measles vaccination is free, safe, and effective. This message is from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency with support from partners. For further inquiries, call the following toll-free lines: 0803-123-0415.
Welcome back to News Extra. The Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the alleged kidnap and sale of Kano children has received more than 60 testimonies and memoranda from the public in the last 2 weeks. Most of those who appeared before the commission are parents of missing children and community leaders. Abdullahi Mustafa has the details.
The 16-member Commission of Inquiry was constituted against a recent discovery of a criminal syndicate that abduct and sell children from Kano State. The commission, chaired by retired Kano High Court Judge Wada Umarano, is in addition to identifying the causes, victims and culprits, is also expected to recommend ways of addressing the menace. To generate input, a public hearing is being held at the Kano High Court complex. 2 weeks into its commencement, About 70 persons have so far testified, while many others presented memoranda. Findings from the commission show that most of those who gave testimonies are parents of missing children. Some of the reported cases occurred 5 to 10 years ago. Among other memoranda submitted are for the strengthening of neighborhood watch and community policing, as well as ban of motor parks operating at flash points and effective regulation of the transport system. The public hearing continues till the end of November. In Kano, Abdullah Mustafa, NTA News.
The joy of the arrival of a baby to a family usually knows no bound. But it was one with mixed feelings for Emmanuel Igenti, whose wife Susan gave birth to quintuplets. Shaibu Onoze Yakubu was at the Federal Medical Center, Jabi, Abuja, where the babies and the mother are said to be doing well.
The parents of the quintuplets, Emmanuel and Susan Igenti, were married in 2003. 16 years down the lane, they were just blessed with 5 children, 3 girls and 2 boys through in vitro fertilization (IVF). Mr. Emmanuel Igenti and his wife, both natives of Umagbo village in Anambra State, but resident in Abuja, while appreciating the gift of God, solicit the assistance of the government and other public-spirited individuals to come to their aid in any way possible.
Since 2003, when I married, nothing like this. We have been going here and there, suffering. At last, I tell my wife, say, I can't go anywhere again. If God want to leave us like that, let him leave us. But we believe in one God, our living God. So this period now, God has done it.
I want Nigerian government to help me to train them for school.
Head of Clinical Services at the Federal Medical Center Abuja, Dr. Felix Roland Bolorunduro, says it was a rare feat at the hospital for successfully delivering quintuplets through IVF.
The mother is doing fine. The babies as well, they were delivered via cesarean section. They are only in the ward, admitted presently, and they are presently out of incubator. The present socio-economic situation of the couple particularly, they have low socio-economic status. We learned that a man is staying in a one-room apartment in Utako village. And so we were faced with the dilemma of discharging them to a one-room apartment, knowing the health implications, particularly with the children. And so that is why we've been very hesitant in releasing the family.
It is obvious they cannot take care of these babies properly. So we need at least 3 nannies for them, since the mother-in-law is around.
Since its establishment, this is the first time the Federal Medical Center in Jabi, Abuja is delivering quintuplets through cesarean section. Shaibu Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Well, we wish Emmanuel's family all the best. Really cute babies there. Active legislation against the activities of unskilled birth attendants, subsidized cost of maternity care and prevention of prolonged and obstructed labor, experts say, are some sure ways of tackling the scourge of obstetrics fistula. Other areas of concern are the alarming cases of rape and teenage pregnancies, resulting in the increased number of young people presently with obstetrics fistula in recent times. So what can be done to remedy this situation? Let's find out.
Right now, I have a young girl who got pregnant and came down with VVF. She has been repaired and she wants to share her story. How are you today?
I'm fine.
So, tell us about your experience.
I got pregnant at the age of 15 years, and I came to VVF, and then I am now fine.
So tell us what happened.
I was going to the place I used to labor, and I tried to labor the baby. I can't labor the baby. I just told those people to carry me to the hospital so that they can go and operate me and bring the baby out. They refused to carry me there. After the baby was died inside my stomach, They come and carry me to the hospital. They go and draw the baby out.
Statistics show that about 150,000 women across Nigeria are awaiting fistula surgery, and each year another 12,000 women come down with fistula, while the current rate of repairs stand at about 3,000 cases in a year. Working out these mathematics, it may take another 50 years to clear the backlog of fistula cases if only we are able to stop new cases from arising.
It's well known that over 60% of women attend antenatal care, but less than 40% actually deliver under supervised care. So we need to be able to develop that health-seeking behavior, and I think government too need to subsidize the cost of antenatal care and the cost of delivery.
Orient our mothers properly as to where to go when they are pregnant, when they are in labor. We need to continue to hammer it, the reason why they should go there, where to go, and the reason why they should go there.
To end this scourge, therefore, experts say prolonged and obstructed labor, which accounts for 85 to 95% of cases of fistula, must be checked to alleviate the sufferings of women with various birth injuries. Therefore, the VVF Hospital Mbribritam in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State Capital, in collaboration with volunteer doctors, organize quarterly camps that offer free surgery to hundreds of women in the South-South region. This is a clear indication that vesico-vaginal fistula is not a death sentence. This health condition can be repaired and women live a normal life. And interestingly so, this repair is done across Nigeria free of charge. In Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State Capital, Ifoma Aihuji, NTN News.
Well, thank you so much, Ifoma, for that information. Now, to whom much is given, much is expected. Thus much is the situation in Jigawa State, where much was given to the school feeding program, and the expectation of increased school enrollment is also being achieved. For we hear there is significant improvement in school pupils' enrollment. Abdullahi Garba revisits the program 2 years down the line, and here are his findings.
The federal government's homegrown feeding program, which was introduced by the Buhari administration, is aimed at providing free meals to pupils of primary 1 to 3 in more than 30 states of the federation. Jigawa State, which is one of the beneficiaries, has over 1,800 primary schools captured, with over 1 million pupils provided with meals 5 days a week. While the federal government feeds pupils in primary 1 to 3, the state government complements the gesture by providing meals to those in primary 4 to 6.
In Jigawa State, we have more than 38% increment in our enrollment from the start of the program to date. And if you look at the holistic average, wherever you go, in some states you see more than 40%, around 30 to 40% increment in the enrollment, largely because of this particular component of the program.
The punctuality of the pupils, such as the performance of the pupils, and even the enrollment of the pupils to the school, unlike before starting this feeding.
In addition to the impact of the program on educational development, it also impacts positively on economic empowerment, as over 10,000 women food vendors in the state are empowered through the supply of food to schools. Along the value chain, the program also encourages local farming, as homegrown products are solely used, thereby boosting the economy of the farmers in the state.
Now we get this opportunity, so we are not living like that. We are getting something from it.
Honestly speaking, this food is very important.
Kuna cin abincin Baba Buhari kullum? Kuna jin daɗi? To ku tafa magani. So this is an indication that these pupils are very happy. It encourages them to come to school, which serves as a moral bolster, especially in rural areas. From this in Jigawa State, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
Indeed, it serves as a moral booster with that claps I've just seen and everyone watching out there. Now, if you are thinking of traveling through the countryside, here is the story of one crisscrossing Kadarko boundary community along the Lafia-Makudi Highway. Really like no other because it is a popular stopover location for the unique attraction of local food delicacies and growing game of bushmeat business. It does sound good, right? For the rest of the story, here is Hamza Musamak Erfi.
Well, this is the geographic boundary between Benue in my front and Nasarawa State backwards. More than 160 kilometers from the FCT, you are already in Kadarko community. The highway covering the distance of the town is called Abuja Line and its peculiar ambience. Business may not be brisk at this time, but Regina Zwabi and daughter Annabel, as well as many others, say it is good with arrival of commuters. A stopover by Ochie King cannot be ignored.
But, it's a place to stop by because of the cultural and the natural foods they had here. Each time, maybe if I am passing through or coming back from Abuja, especially if I'm coming back from Abuja, if I didn't stop here, it's as if I have not really passed through this place.
What also makes the community tick is the rebound of bushmeat business. Can you sell it for less than 4,000 actually? In every area of life, there is unity among the Nigerian people because bushmeat you buy here is from other parts of the country.
They bring it from Niger State, Maiduguri, Kano and Taraba. And because of the distance, the bushmeat is expensive now.
Initiatives by the government of ensuring stability is making the community more attractive to flourishing businesses.
For somebody to live far from Benue, far from Abuja, past life here, the heart of the state, but decided to rest in Kadarko, it showed that the people are very accommodating.
Abuja line, in welcome everybody in the whole world, not even Nigeria only.
This is the story of Kadarko boundary community,